Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here. Hope you're well. What we're going to do now is just take a look at game mechanics and the movement a little bit further, because what we want to do is ideally think about how our character moves and what it's going to be moving through and into. So in my game, what I've got is I've got this movement string here. If I just zoom out of there a little bit, we can see it all on the screen. And if I get it out of the way of my video, here if I hit the green flag, you can also see as well, if you know about the way that characters move in Scratch, just by using that very simple, well, it's moved out of the way like that, the very simple motion here, which is change Y by 10 to make it go up, it's quite crude. And what I mean by that is that your character, your sprite moves so fast, and it comes to an abrupt halt and stop and start each time, that you'll probably notice that when you use this variable, when it pulls the variable speed, you probably notice, well, just really how kind of smooth it is. Now, if you took it a little bit further and you change this to say 1, it means you don't have to change all the others either. So as I move my boat around now, you can see that they move really nicely. I mean, these numbers here need to change to 2 each, but you'll notice that the movement is rather nice. The next thing we need to do is keep this, because this is very important now. We can go and keep this, and you can go and export your character if you want. If you go and export it, if you're on an iPad, I think you need a long press on an iPad, but you're able to go and export that and keep it somewhere else if you want to, if you're worried about it being deleted. So you can go and export that, and you can go and save that anywhere you like. Okay. Next, what I've made is a forever if hitting a color. And what we need to do is think about the variables that we've got. How can my boat, if it crashes into the port, we need to be careful, because the reason I've chosen these islands like this is that I'm able to move my boat around the page and around the game in a way that my boat is able to collect things as it gets to each village, except for the village itself. Because what we're able to do later on is we are able to edit this village. We're able to go into the character, into the costume itself, and edit it so that you can make it easier or harder for your boat to actually dock at the village. At the port here, it's easy to get into the port. At Rund, it's easy to sail around the outside, and the same with town. With village, it's a bit harder, so you'll have to edit that yourself. But the reason I'm telling you this is they're completely different colours. My boat here could go into this port here, but if it crashes on the land, the challenge itself would be that your boat or your ship is going to be damaged in some way, unless your character, your player, controls your character in a way that has some control, and they're able to go and collect things at each port. The same with the ruins. So once it's collected all these, then the ruins becomes open, and then you can collect the treasure. So what have I done for this? So if I just zoom out of here, I can show you what I've made here, and you're able to go and have a look at this yourself. Is that I've got here, I'm able to change my speed and minus it by 10, which means it's just going to bounce off the other way. Okay, so it's just going to quickly bounce. So let's have a look to see what this does. So I'll hit the green flag, and let's just go and check out what happens when my part of the boat here, which is this color, is going to hit this piece here. So you can see that I can't, it's bouncing me back 10 pixels each time. So it's just got that edge each time that the boat, which is part of the color here, touches this, which is part of the island. And it's not 100%, but you can fine tune it because you're able to say this part of the boat, let's just go into this and go and grab my pipette, my color picker here at the bottom. When I click on my color picker, I can choose a part of the boat. And you can see that it all goes dark. It's really, really, really handy now. And you can see I've got that part of the boat, and I've also just got this dark black area. If you don't have that, you can just paint it onto your boat. You can paint the color by going to the costume editor and painting it, and then putting it on the boat itself. So I've got this color, and you can see that it immediately just chooses it like that. And I've clicked it and I've chosen it. And this color here is the color of the island. So on the edges of my islands, I've got this edge here, and it's going to bounce it off. So that color I know is the same as this, is the same as all the other colors around the island. Now you will notice that when I move my boat around, and my boat moved around here, there's a little bit of an error in that it can go over the mountain. So how do we fix this? Well, once we've made one, we can duplicate it like this, make another one, and so when the front of my boat hits this color here, which is the mountain right there, it's then going to bounce off. So any part of the island here, you can see I've chosen this kind of teal color for my trees here. So if it hits the trees, it's going to bounce off. If it hits the green here, it's going to bounce off. Once I've made one, it's going to work for all the others too. Okay, so this is one of my mechanics, which I've stolen from the Odd Job Eddie game, where when he landed on the green ladders, he was able to move up and down through the green ladders and go into the new part of the map, and all the ladders were green. So taking the ideas from both Odd Job Eddie and the Sid Meier game, we are now building a very simple set of mechanics that our players will enjoy because it adds an element of challenge to it. So as I move my boat now, my ship around here, it can now bounce off all the islands, telling my player that I need to use some level of control to get what I want as part of the story. Right. This, if I break this down into the simplest part, is quite simple to make. It's only about 4 pieces. So I've got my if color is touching, which is in my sensing area. If color is touching another color, then it's going to change my X by speed minus 10. My speed is 3, so it's going to bounce it off 7 pixels. Then I can duplicate it, create another one for my colors, and so in the game you can go and make the colors yourself using the color picker, which is part of the boat. And any part of the boat here, I've chosen another part which is brown. So if the brown is touching the tree here, it's going to be bounced away. Now, there are different colors in the islands, so you'll probably end up with quite a long list of if color is touching another color, and there are quite a lot of duplicates, because what you're going to have to do is put the colors together and then test it so that you go to each island and see what happens as you play it and play test it, that the boat doesn't shift over the island like that. So as you can see, there is an error here that if I go the opposite way and my boat goes through here, this part of the boat is allowed to go over this color. So I need to go and make another one so that it doesn't. And I simply duplicate it, get part of my boat, which is using the color picker, and the part of the boat is this dark brown area here. And if it's touching this part of the mountain, let's just go to this darker shade here, it's going to bounce it off as well. So let's give it a play. There's still an error, so I need to go and change another color by duplicating, choosing another part of the boat and another part of the rock until it bounces itself off. Okay, right, that's it for this part of the game mechanic, which is if color hits another color. You can steal my code, you can edit it, you can see how it works. You can also change how far it bounces it off the islands too, and see if you can get some funny errors in that way as well. You'll probably end up with quite a long list of if color hits another color, but it doesn't matter. As long as your game works and you've got a list of those colors, then all is fine. Have a little go. I will see you in the studio, so you can post them into the studio and I can see them there as well. Right, year 6, as always, good luck.